Hello and welcome to the Roughneck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we go over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johan.
And joining us for this minute is the illustrious host of the Mogwai Minute, George Hendricks.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, thank you for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
So, George, you are one of the other purveyors of the Movies by Minute format, aren't you?
I am indeed. Me and my co-host Neil have completed the original Gremlins and have every plan to do the sequel, working on a recording schedule to get the second one up and running sometime in the new year.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be looking forward to that. I think the second batch, New Batch. New Batch was one of my second favorite movies of that.
Yeah, because there's also the Hulk Hogan cameo.
Yes, there is.
There's some people here just trying to get a cold beverage.
I'm pretty sure the movie is nothing but cameos, because it's all tongue-in-cheek, self-referential, like, okay, you wanted a sequel, I'll give you one, but you're going to get what I give you, type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's even a Batman reference.
There is, isn't there?
Yep.
Gosh, man, I haven't seen that movie in about 5 years, but, oh gosh, man.
My biggest goal is to try to get Leonard Maltin on the show to talk about his minute where he is reviewing Gremlins.
That would be fun.
On that would be so awesome.
I'm aiming. I've got him. We're following each other on Twitter, or I'm following him on Twitter, so I'll start addressing his phone.
Yeah, ever since the Rocketeer Minute got Billy Campbell on, I mean, my aspirations are so high now to try to get someone from the movie on as well, too.
Yeah, the stakes have
I don't know if that's going to be that difficult, because other than the people that already had careers prior to this movie, no one really had a career coming out of it.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, I don't think... I don't know if you've been listening to us, but we've been harping pretty hard on Carmen and Denise Richards, so I doubt we're going to get her.
Well, I mean, Denise Richards... Well, she's an entity unto herself.
Yeah. But let's diverge into the movie, actually. When was the first time you've actually seen this movie?
I saw this in the theater. I saw this when it came out. It was like, oh, space and bugs and people shooting things? Okay, sure. I'm into it. It was like, 97 when this came out? I was like right out of high school.
Yeah.
So,
did you read the book beforehand, or was the
I've
movie...
never read the book. And the more and more I was doing research on the minutes, I was like, I think I should read this book, because everything says this is so different from the book. Other than the name, there's no likeness to it.
I want to say it's kind of like, every single example I'm going to give is the book version of so-and-so movie. You know, it's a little more cartoony or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's basically just the book version of this movie. I don't know why I even tried to say anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's shorter, it's weirder. Okay, it's like... I don't know. I'm going to cut that out anyway, because I can't think of anything.
Leave it.
I'll leave it, sure. I can't think of anything for an example. But yeah, we are actually at minute 30. This minute starts with Zim explaining why he impaled Ace with the combat throwing knife, and ends with Ace telling everyone he's planning on going career. Officer training, all the way.
Good for Ace.
Good for Ace. Yeah, but we get the first scene out of this minute where it is... Zim in front of Ace. Ace is not crying, but he's cringing and, in physical pain that he has a knife impaled into his hand.
There was big fake hand.
Big fake hand. Yeah, it does look pretty fake, but I mean,
it looks almost twice the size as his hand before he puts it up there, and then it hits and it just sort of like does that weird twitchy thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is practical effects 97. Tippett Studios did really good on it, but I mean, you can definitely tell it has kind of that little waxy sheen on it. Makes it look a little fake. The movements are a little too deliberate, so...
Yeah. Very Total Recall.
Exactly, yeah.
And the one thing I was considering about the way the knife goes into the hands, wouldn't that disable the middle two fingers? Because it's pretty much cutting through
tendons.
The bone and the tendons, so those fingers shouldn't be moving the way they are.
Yeah, if it's thrown hard enough to stick into a metal wall, I'm pretty sure you're going to lose those fingers.
Yeah.
Too true.
So really hard to do the Vulcan piece.
Yeah, definitely. He wouldn't be able to do that too much anymore. Zim explains that to the recruits that the enemy cannot push a button if he disables his hand, and then pulls the knife out, cleans it off, and calls for a medic. Now, when he calls for a medic is the actual sound clip that I got for our censor, which I'll insert right here. But yes, that's where I got it from. I tried to think of something kind of like Crystal Beth and John Roberts' Aziz.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that sounded so good, and I kind of wanted our podcast to be a little clean, too. But this medic sounds pretty good. I hope, anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll find out.
Well, I mean, we have
used it.
We have used it a couple times. Our past guest, Chris, was saying a few things. I told him, hey, it is a clean podcast, but if it does happen, we can censor it. But
yeah, I was wondering, so are you saying you've never said those before?
Oh, we've said words before, and I have used it a couple times. It's fun.
Yeah, because we used it for the jump ball minute.
Yep.
Where I was talking about how cool Diz was, and obviously a couple blue words came out, so we had to use the medic.
Yeah. In the book and in the anime, Zim does not maim a recruit at all. And Ace is actually replaced with a recruit named Hendrix. He explains
good name.
Yes. Well, I don't know if you want to emulate this recruit very much. He's very much that guy that questions everything and isn't part of the team. That? Well, I mean, in the sense of Starship Troopers, it's not very good to question the government, kind of thing. You just got to go along with
the whole geopolitical situation of the Earth and the future world is real interesting. Real interesting.
Definitely.
As we'll find out when we get to the exposition dialogue sexposition of the shower scene. But.
Yeah, we will, for sure. But in the book, Zim tells Hendrix that there are no dangerous weapons, only dangerous people, and I expect you to use any part of your body, even if you have only one arm left, to try and kill your enemy. Even if you only have a stick, you should learn and know how to kill an enemy. But Hendrix goes on to say, hey, well, what I understand, but if that person's armed to the teeth, what if he has an H-bomb? Or what if he has a nuke? And Zim then goes to say, well, do you really want to be in the MI, Trooper? Do you really want to, be here? Because it sounds like you don't. Basically kind of saying, hey, we're fighting for the future. We're fighting for everything. You're here questioning. Why don't you get with the team kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, it seems like any of the people that sign up for MI, they should know they're up against insurmountable odds when you're going against the bugs. And so I guess this is a good philosophy more than it was the actual training.
Yeah, but at this point, they've never actually made contact with bugs, right? They've just been suffering meteor strikes. Not even that yet. This is all like preceding the opening bit where like, oh, Earth defense is super great, blowing up meteors left and right.
Well, in the story, there was a first bug war, and that's where Gene Razchik lost his arm, evacuating troopers from Klendathu. They in the books they found bugs on Pluto, but I'm assuming that because there was exploration of planets and whatnot, they found Klendathu. The MI went down to figure out what was going on there. They found arachnids, and they had to go. I
think it's just the troops that haven't experienced the bugs.
Yeah, it's just these troops that haven't experienced the bugs. But I mean, like, even in the very first scenes, every adult is maimed. Like Razchik has a missing arm.
The intake guy has missing his legs.
Yeah,
metal hand.
And then the biology teacher, Rue McCallaghan, also has she's blind as well too.
Burns on her face, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a first bug war, and kind of just showing that yes, the older generation did fight and they did get hurt. They were maimed during this first bug war. So they know about the bugs. They know that there are enemies out there that can kill you. Or yeah.
So, okay, book talk. Which one came first, this or Ender's?
Oh gosh, I think this came first because this was in 59.
Because it has that same sort of like, oh, well, we had one war, we survived, but now we have to like fight next war. Ready for that, be prepared type vibe.
Yeah,
that was very, very redolent through Ender.
Yeah, it definitely was. This was more along the lines of. Oh gosh, I remember reading about it too. Heinlein said something about how I don't remember exactly off the top of my head exactly what he said, but Heinlein wrote this book in response to World War II But yeah, that's what I'll remember at the moment. I wrote this down at one point. I just don't remember where it was.
Gotcha.
So are the arachnids
So I was like,
Nazis?
who's he talking about they're fighting? Because, okay, so the bugs don't have nukes. So who's he trying to get them to talk about preventing from, like, so if they're trying to prepare for the second, bug war, who's going to have the nukes in that he's preventing fighting? It was like, take his hand out. He can't hit the button. But are you talking about, like, other on Earth who are trying to hit you with nukes?
Possibly. I mean, in the book, he does, Hyland does say that insurrection and revolution is pretty much impossible. But outer planets may be getting a little rowdy. But in the book, there are both the alien species on there, the skinnies and the pseudo-arachnids, both are not dumb bugs like they are in the movie. They're intelligent, they have ships, they have weapons, plasma weapons, lasers and whatnot, so it was more of an even kind of playing field on that one. But in this way, in the book, it just goes into a big history and moral philosophy kind of teaching class, and Zim, sits down Hendrix and just tells him, this is what it is. Let me get you a couple books that you can read and read more about it and decide if you want to still be in the MI. But to fast track all this, Zim in the movie just says, because Jake Busey, Ace, is not doing so well at the knife training, he's like, well, why do we need this? I mean, everyone has a nuke now. So he's like, oh, you cannot use a nuke if you had to disable your hand, kind of thing. So he's just basically telling him, yeah.
Fine. There seem to be like mixing their metaphors with, we gotta fight the bugs. Gotta watch out for guys with nukes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Focus fire, guys. Focus fire.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what he's trying to do. Or he's just trying to teach Jake Busey a lesson that no matter what, you can always use any weapon to hurt someone. The whole entire thing where there's no dangerous weapons, only dangerous people, he's just trying to teach him, hey, you need to be a dangerous person. I also have to apologize for one of our last minutes as well, too. Ted Hendricks didn't get killed for striking Zim. In the last minute, I was telling how Ted did pop Zim one for... he was in an anthill. He popped up. Zim popped him in the back of the head. And because of that, I said that he got killed. He didn't get killed. They tried to what is it called?
Court-martial?
Well, they did court-martial him, but they also tried to make the sentence a little less so he wouldn't get killed. He instead got 10 lashes and a dishonorable discharge. So that was one I think I needed to change because I went back and reread the book as I have been doing for the past couple weeks now.
Yeah.
And realizing that, yes, that was wrong about that. The scene changes and we get to one of the most iconic scenes in the movie, and one of the reasons that George is with us because he called this scene, actually. The shower scene.
Technically, I didn't technically call the scene. Crystal Beth called it for me because we were talking about it, and he's like, oh, the shower scene would be fun. She's like, okay. And next thing you know, I was like, hey, heard you want to do the shower scene. I was like, okay, sure, why not?
Well, honestly, I may rather have you on here talking about the shower scene than Crystal Beth, honestly. She may get a little weird. I've been listening to her on Unlimited Lives talking about, like, hymens and stuff, and it gets a little weird, man.
Shout out to the Unlimited Lives.
Yeah, shout out to Unlimited Lives and Fifth Element. I think they're coming up on their last episodes, actually, really soon.
Yeah, they're down to the last couple, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they get back from Germany, they'll be finishing it up.
Heck yeah, man.
But yeah, I figure if she were here on this one, we would run real long on this shower scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just boobs and butts. I mean, it's fun, but and honestly, this is. I mean, first off, co-ed shower scenes are Paul Verhoeven's specialty. He's had a couple. I think his first American one was RoboCop, and it just. I think he had a more young, fit, attractive cast in this one in order to, he's like, oh, I did it once, I get away with it, I'll do it again.
Sure, why not? We see a few strategically placed soap trays and pipes, but I do see a bit of Casper's Little Rico, actually. A slight...
Do you?
Yeah,
by framing that one, I thought you could see a little bit of Jake Busey's Little Busey.
Oh, yeah, you definitely do. I was frame by framing this scene just to make sure I was taking in every single... Yes, I was being very thorough.
Do you have any info on like some of the, like, because obviously like the main characters like Shizumi and Catherine, I think her name is, the redhead.
Yes.
They're but like, what's that one girl who is basically just background boobs the whole time? She has short brown hair, just keeps popping in the frame, and she's just a set of background boobs to like smile and acknowledge that people are talking.
Yeah, I actually didn't get anything from these people. There's a guy in the back as well that has a towel that, there's nothing about that. They're just background recruits, honestly. I never got any indication of who they were or what they did or anything like that, unfortunately. And I tried, searching
I tried
IMDb.
to Google like cast list for Starship Troopers shower scene, hoping someone had done like a BuzzFeed type listicle of just like, this person was this and they did this, but no luck. And going through the cast list, it's like there's no association with names, so they're really just random people who are in the background just being naked.
Yeah, I mean, they could just be like, I don't know, like what is it, graphers and best boys and whatnot. And
Yeah, gaffers and just like, oh, craft services, crafty, we're slow today. We need an extra set of boobs. Come on,
let's go.
I don't know if Unique can get away with that. Actually, I really think they had to have like enlisted extras, because I've been on a few productions. I've been in a few like small like extra roles in movies and stuff. And they'll flat out, if they have an extra who has to do something like that, like get naked or shave their head or something silly for a scene, they'll pull them aside, they'll like make them fill out paperwork, and then they'll like give them whatever per diem price bump is in their day rate in order to get that. So I don't know what her rate was for an extra set of boobs for the duration of the thing, but I'm sure she got paid for it.
The only one that I know on record that actually did that, where they did craft service and then were also a lead, or at least in a movie, was what's her name from Behind the Green Door?
I don't know.
It's a porno, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she got signed up. Yeah, she got signed on to do craft service, and then they were just like, "Hey, do you want to be in a movie?" She's like, "Well, can I get double pay?"
But that was the 70s, man. There was a total different vibe back then. It's just, yeah, sure, whatever. Get naked. Let's go have sex for like, the duration of this whole thing.
But yeah, but at least there's an instance that if you're doing one project and you have to be on screen, that you have to get a bump in pay.
Yeah.
But
I hope she got a bump in pay from craft services to lead.
Oh, from what I heard, she made a ton of money because, the points and whatnot, because it did make those brothers millions of money. But I rewatched that scene a little bit that you were mentioning about that girl in the background. She manages to be placed in every scene. She literally is background.
I guarantee you it's because Verhoeven was like, she's cute. Let's put her in there.
Yeah, because there's a scene where they're focusing on Jana, where she's talking, and she's just off to the right. Then they focus on Casper, and she's just off to the left. So she's actually never behind the shower pole. She managed to be in the shot every time.
Yeah.
And then when they're talking,
it very well could have been some form of like a budgetary thing. Like, well, we've already got her clearance to show her boobs, so we'll just keep her in the background, so we don't have to like find somebody else to like up their pay rate to have like a featured boob extra.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
because
they'd be like, okay, let's get boobs in here, and they probably, exactly, and just like move her around to where they have to have her. Like, no one's going to pay attention.
But
Well,
yeah, because when they were talking to Catherine and Ace, she's behind them getting dressed. So it's like the same person every time.
But yes, we actually, Kitten comes in and he says, oh, we're all stupid enough to sign up for MI. And then he starts asking people why they did so.
So you heard the story behind the scene, right?
Yes, actually, I heard two different versions of the story.
The one I heard was that Verhoeven said, surprise, you're all going to be naked today. And they're like, no, we're not. And he's like, no, you really are. Stop being uptight young Americans. And then, what's her name? Carmen. I can't remember her
Dina Meyer. Yeah.
Yeah. Dina Meyer's like, all right, if you're so uninhibited, take your clothes off. And this 60-year-old man just drops it and just gets naked. And they do. And so they're like, oh, okay. So because he did it, everyone else did it. And it was weird for the first couple of minutes. And then they like kind of just forgot about it and just did the scene.
Yeah, so the version I heard was they did do that, but instead Verhoeven actually just pulled out, just dropped his pants a little bit up above his knees, and then pulled them back up again just to show off. But afterwards, they did try to get comfortable with each other for about 10 minutes. just being naked with everyone and hanging out. And I'm assuming during those 10 minutes, Verhoeven was in the buff as well.
You know what? Listen, you got to lead by example. You just can't tell people what to do.
Exactly.
And here's the thing: is like, so I'm a photographer, and I've done a few nude shoots in my days. And let me tell you what, the weirdest part is that first 10 minutes when it's like, all right, naked's here, there you go, and you just sort of like absorb it for a little bit, and then after like a couple of minutes it really does like stop having that sort of like, oh my god, this person's naked effect, and then you just move into it. Just, all right, let's do the thing. You just don't act like it. And they're professionals, they're all young professionals. They're like, okay, well, the novelty's over, let's do our lines type thing. So I can see about 10 minutes of that, and just like, all right, we're doing our thing.
Yeah, she it definitely does seem like they're a little more comfortable during the scene as well too now.
Here's my question for you for doing like if you're photographing people are naked. Basically, this is kind of like the insight to that type of industry and all that. Does it get easier for you that like this is no big deal? I mean, maybe that's how
Verhoeven
it
definitely
was.
does. You just sort of it really does become there's a part of your brain that sort of like disassociates like the erotic nature of it, and it's more just like if you're trying to do a sensual thing, you definitely want to keep that in mind, but you don't. But it's like just the whole part of like, oh my god, I'm next to a naked chick or a guy or whatever. It's just your brain just stops reacting that intensely after you've done it a little bit.
So it might be why Verhoeven was just like, all right, this is how the scene works. Let's do it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because like he loves those co-ed shower scenes, and he's like, this is not my first rodeo. We'll do this and get this done. And everyone's young and fit and attractive. Like, why not? Like, it's fine.
That's why I'm wondering, like, maybe
I can see his mentality of like, come on, guys, let's do this. Let's take it up a notch. And this is like, if everyone thinks about Starship Troopers, 99% of the time, the first thing is like, oh yeah, the one with the shower scene.
Yeah, even during the Riff Tracks live show that we went to as well too, they talked specifically, oh yeah, we're at the famous Starship Troopers shower scene, and they talked over it so they wouldn't have to show anything.
They didn't even show it on the camera,
which was good.
Panning the audience,
because there were kids in the audience and everything.
Yeah.
So. But actually, when Verhoeven did drop his pants or did get fully nude, everyone started blaming Dina Meyer for that and told her, "What did you do, Dina? Come on, we didn't have to have that."
It's like, well, yeah, he said he is like 60 years old when this movie was being filmed. So.
Yeah.
He's like 58, 59, yeah, because they filmed it the year before and they drop it. 97, he was 59. So depending on when this came out, he could have been 59 or 60. So that's just not the kind of penis you want to see, I think.
But yeah, we get a little bit more. This scene actually serves as a little bit of character development for the squad.
Oh yes,
yes, in more ways than one.
And the young audience, so it's just blooming into adulthood.
Yes, I was about, I think, 10 years old, and I was like, ooh, character development. This was not my first boob scene, though. I think my first boob scene was Species.
Yeah, we were talking about this. Like, actually, that is a question that we had last week. What was your first on-screen boob scene?
I don't know. My dad was really sort of like weird about sex in movies when I was growing up. He would like jump up in front of the TV if something like that was happening and like cover the TV with the stretch out his shirt just to cover it up enough to like so we couldn't see it. And then like when it was over, he'd sit back down. Violence was fine, language was fine, but for some reason sexuality was like no. So it was always a weird thing. I think I remember like the bit in I don't know. So we had cable for a little while. I remember the shower scene in Stripes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Being very early and being just like, oh my god, they have pubic hair in this movie? It just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And there was like one weird little like the little flash boob scene you get in Die Hard. I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, it's like it was a surprise boob thing. Like, oh my god, boobs.
So
just like there were so many of them in the mid 80s. Like there was it was almost like you couldn't have some sort of movie that didn't have some form of nudity in it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I saw Porky's before Stripes, so that was my first like people one, like the voyeuristic.
Mm-hmm.
So, but on screen, like actually in a movie theater. Do you remember yours? Because I could not, and I think it was this one for me.
It was 97, so I was like 18, 19. guess maybe on screen in the theater. Maybe something before that, like I don't know. I snuck into a lot of R-rated movies when I was younger. We're gonna go see Medicine Man with Sean Connery. We went to see Lawnmower Man. Don't tell my parents. That sort of thing.
Yeah, there's just too
yeah,
many.
I don't know. I guess this might have been roughly because it was right around that time where I could go to movies by myself and just do my own thing. I don't know. You're right. I can't think of one. I can't think of the first time I saw one.
It's
Between
okay.
cable, HBO, videos, and that sort of thing, it was just a very jumbled time
Yeah.
for boobs.
Jumbo and boobs.
One
in the
little
same
higher than the
sentence.
Yep.
We-
Well, you know they're natural.
Exactly. We get a little view of Kitten's dog tags, actually, the dog tags of all the MI troopers up close. They look a little, they have that little 90s futuristic kind of like holographic glow.
That weird sort of like holographic lenticular thing going on. I love
Yeah.
that. I love, like one of those weird little, like, okay, they got it right on that one. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. The chain itself is black as well, too, so that kind of cuts down on, I guess, reflective surfaces. But on closer inspection, it kind of looks like how you would, I guess, black out a gray chain with a Sharpie. It still kind of has a shine on it, too.
It's like a gunmetal type color, which
Yeah.
is like just matte black.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's not like a futuristic kind of like see-through card or anything like that. It does look just like a metal holographic dog tag, which is cool. It's pretty cool, yeah. Kitten then asks Breckenridge why he joined up, and Breckenridge tells him, he didn't like farming. He said that MI was pretty much pure picnic by comparison.
How much do you have to hate farming for military service to be better?
Okay, so in Starship Troopers 3, there is a planet called Rokusan, which is a farm planet, which is maybe where Breckenridge came from. The whole entire planet itself is agriculture. So if you are doing agriculture morning, noon, and night constantly... But yeah, I mean, that is kind of interesting, though. I mean, you would think, hey, this is a future. They could have automated machines to do their farming and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Just hit a button, dude. Calm down.
Yeah.
But
also, we know it doesn't turn out very well for him, but we'll get there later.
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm wondering if
Spoiler alert.
I'm wondering if he's hated farming just because every day he just wakes up to cornfields no matter what.
Yeah, it's like a planet of Iowa.
Oh, corn. Yeah, corn.
More corn.
But, so Kitten does say, well, I guess they grow 'em big and dumb. And, Jonna actually just says, oh, I like 'em big and dumb. Or like 'em big. And then her turn is next. He asked her why she joined up, and she says, oh, I want to get into politics. And of course, you got to join service to get into politics.
So here,
Which is,
you got to be
again...
a citizen in order to like services guaranteed to citizenship, which is always a different thing. Like the later on down the line, like futuristic, where like there's a hierarchy between citizens and non-citizens. If you've ever read the series Red Rising by Pierce Brown, it's phenomenal. I recommend it to anybody who likes anything remotely cool ever. But it's a very distinct hierarchy. Like everyone's sort of by color, not racial color, but like your class is your color, is your job, is your everything. It's very, very segmented.
Is that part of the Mars series, the Blue Mars, Red Mars series?
No, well, actually, it does start. It is set on Mars, but it's
Okay.
It's the Rising Sun trilogy, I think.
Oh, okay. Because I remember hearing
Yeah.
Red Mars, Blue Mars, and then something else Rising. So I thought that was a part of that series. Okay, I'll check that out. Yeah,
No, yeah, you should really. It was originally supposed to be a trilogy, but he's writing a new book for it, and I can't wait for it because it really is one of the favorite things I've read in the last 20 years.
Sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's great.
Sujumi is next. He says he got into Harvard, but he doesn't have the money to go. Higher education probably isn't free, or just Ivy League schools aren't free in this world, apparently. I would assume because, all the way that these kids look, they look kind of old, so I was assuming that maybe Buenos Aires Education Center was kind of like a in-between school between high school and college. So I'm guessing...
Like a community college?
Yeah, but a free college or something like that.
Well, that's another thing. It's like that's what because it's Rico, it's Carmen, what's her face, it's Diaz.
Dizzy.
Like these are all like Hispanic names, and they're supposed to be from Buenos Aires, but they don't look Hispanic whatsoever. So I guess we're supposed to buy like this sort of like futuristic multiculturalism. Everyone's blending together as far as genetics, and this like you can't really like distinguish like like races anymore. It's becoming more and more colorblind as very affluent suburb of some other country, I guess.
So actually, I do have a little bit of a story about that. In the commentary, what is it? Casper Van Dien does say, or I'm sorry, Dina Meyer does ask Casper, hey, why that's kind of a weird casting, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy in Argentina. How did that work? And Casper himself says, well, I mean, just think about it. What happened after World War II? Where did the Nazis go? Argentina.
That makes sense.
So he's basically saying that Rico or his ancestors were probably Nazis.
Yeah, Aryans.
Aryans, yes. So that's why
good old Rico,
yes.
Good old Casper Van Dien, putting a positive spin on it.
Yeah, I was just a little bit of a Nazi in me. I like Uncle, saying things.
Great grandpa Adolf.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh. And while Shizumi does say that he does want to get into Harvard, but his dad says no because they don't have money. The scene does look at Rico a little bit. He kind of looks a little upset. I mean, it looks like, he may be feeling a little bit remorseful about it just because he had that free ride to Harvard, but he's not taking it. And there's someone right here who wants to go to Harvard, but he has to do federal service to pay for it, basically.
Yeah, well, he has a lot of moments of like self-doubt because he is a rich kid, and he's like, basically in his mind, he's like, I'm trying to be like my own man, but ultimately he's like slumming. He's like, I'm going to go be a military guy because I'm too spoiled to realize that I don't have to do this.
Well, we've actually realized that it's actually because of Carmen that he's in the service.
Well, he has his rationalization moments, but then like even that he doesn't talk about it here because he doesn't want people to know that he's there for a girl. No. Because they're like, I want to have kids. I want to be in politics. I can't afford school. I want to get laid.
Exactly. He doesn't want to sound too dumb about that.
Yeah.
We actually get a nice shot of Ace's hand injury after this as well too.
Mm-hmm.
He has the liquid gel thing that Breckenridge had on his arm as well too, meaning that he just got it fixed. It's working perfectly fine now as well too, but it's healing up.
Yeah.
Katrina actually says that she wants to have babies, and then she says it just like, I want to have babies.
I want babies.
But it's easier to go alliances if she serves. This makes me think that this world is more of a Gattaca kind of style, genetics, hodgepodge where they make sure that, hey, everything that comes out of you is, good and pure.
Well, also it could be because they're also colonizing. It could be something of the fact of like it's just overpopulation. It's more like a population control thing where it's like, well, you have to be a citizen or get in order to do this because we want to make sure that you really want this. You're not just randomly reproducing and like taking up all our resources.
True. But my only worry about that is how they enforce that. I mean, I'm pretty sure they could be like little convents of kids up in like the Rocky Mountains or something that are just having babies like rabbits or something like that.
Yeah, but maybe
you never know. They might have some sort of medical thing in place. They have to like flip a switch off in order for you to be able to reproduce. I don't know.
Yeah, like a suppressor field, like in Half-Life 2.
Exactly.
Or I'm just saying,
others.
I'm just saying, like, to go to a hospital or get any government subsidies or anything like that for raising the kid, that's why you need a license.
Man, have you lived off the grid, though? I mean, you can totally live off the grid and just poop and, leaves and everything. You have a natural water birth and, breastfeed for the first, 6 years of their life.
Whatever, hippie.
But that's the thing. It's like, what if population is so out of control in this earth that that it's all grid?
True, yeah.
Yeah, because if they are overpopulated and they're starting to colonize, then probably everything's already eaten up as far as resources go.
Yeah, they're not they probably got cities floating on the ocean, and all the arable land has been taken up and probably turned into hydroponics or something like that, just so they can have more. He's probably farming on. They are farming on other planets because they don't have room to farm on Earth.
Too true. That may be the case as well too. But as soon as she's done, Ace just interrupts, not really interrupts, but just blurts out, "I'm going to officer training all the way."
He's one of those guys.
Yes, he is. He's a tryhard. We've discussed this in the last minute, actually. That he's a bit of a tryhard, yeah. Katrina actually, she's still in the scene, and she rolls her eyes super hard at this. Dude, she's like, ugh.
Oh, because Ace is not really in anybody's favoritism right now. I mean, he has won over the audience a little bit, but to the squad mates, he's still that guy that's trying to
be a tough guy.
Be the leader, but they don't want him as the leader.
True, yeah.
You can't want it too hard. You know, people know that. They can sense that.
And I think they are sensing it with him because, I mean, officer training all the way.
Yeah.
But that's where that minute ends, actually. Do you guys want to discuss anything about this minute any further?
No, there's actually something pretty hot that shows up in the next minute in the script.
Ooh. That
is not shown in the movie, which would have been really rad if it was in the movie. But I can see why they took it out.
Yeah. It's probably not. It probably would have slapped on that NC-17 rating again.
No, maybe it would have been R at best, but not NC-17.
Okay.
It would have been nice if there was an NC-17. It would have been a way different movie.
Well, actually, it was the Motion Picture Association did make it an NC-17 movie, but they had to cut out 4 seconds of one of the outpost, 4 seconds of the outpost raid to make it non-NC-17.
Huh. What?
I don't know.
Weird, because I mean that was the same way with RoboCop. It was one of the first movies, like, you know, to be released as X, but had to be like dialed down, and they cut out like a minute and a half or less of violence between like with the shooting and the execution and stuff like that, and maybe like one or two other things. They like just shaved it down a minute, and that was apparently what pushed it over the line to like a hard R.
Man, motion picture censorship is weird.
So what they cut out?
That's Paul Verhoeven. He just loves to push that line.
Yes, he does.
But what did they cut out? Was it like a bug shower scene?
I think.
Yeah, it was a co-ed bug shower scene.
I think we'll get into it.
How come you're serving? Well, I want to be in the military.
I want to be a different case than I already am. I want to be a warrior case.
I'm a drone for life.
All the way.
All the way.
I want to have babies. All of us have babies. What are you talking about?
I want to be a queen.
Yes. Hey, nice ovipositor.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think actually we'll get into it a little later during that minute, but I think it was during the last part where
two brain bugs got it on?
No. Well, there was two things happening, but they were melting, and I think they cut down 4 seconds of them melting.
Okay, that would make sense.
That makes a little more sense, yeah. But yeah, well, Johan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch at JDASHD26. That's the same as my Instagram, J-D26.
And George, where can they find you?
Come find us, me and Neil, my co-host, on the Mogwai Minute Facebook group, actually, where we talk about, or just listen to the show. We talk about it all the time. So if you like the show, then you will love our Facebook group because we just talk about more show. And also earlier, Matt mentioned Unlimited Lives. Matt and I play D&D on the Unlimited Lives radio stream of D&D every Tuesday night on Twitch. Well, when everyone's in the country, that is.
Yes.
But yes, we are party members. So you should check that out as well, because that's a good time.
Definitely. Unlimited Lives is a fun time, especially when we're playing D&D.
Yeah.
And you guys can find me pretty much anywhere at AltTabMatt, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I actually do host the Unlimited Lives channel on my Twitch, so you can actually see it from my channel as well, too. You can follow the show at The Roughneck Min on Twitter. You can also go to our webpage, theroughneckminute.podbean.com, to check out any past episodes or show notes. Or you can follow us on our Facebook group, The Roughneck Minute Billet, to continue the conversation and go over any of the other episodes that we talk about. Or you can also please subscribe, rate, and review us as well, too, on iTunes, Google Play, and I think we just got on Stitcher.
Sweet.
Yeah, on that.
Hello.
And I'm also planning on possibly getting us a YouTube page as well, too, so we can get some of that sweet, sweet YouTube monies. Look up, PewDiePie. I'm coming for you.
Sweet YouTube monies.
Speaking of Nazis on YouTube.
Oh!
Controversial.
Topical. Hot take. But I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I've been your other host, Johan.
Hey, I've been George.
And we'll see you on the Bounce Troopers.